Welcome to How to Be a Successful Franchisee and When Did This Phase Really Start for You? My name is Scott McCarthy. I'm the Director of Canada for Franchise Marketing Systems, and I will be your host throughout this entire webinar. I've been fortunate enough to have over 30 years of experience in the franchising world with many famous brands. I started off as a multi-unit Tim Horton franchisee and a Kelsey's franchisee, and then was fortunate enough to work for Sunoco, Rexall Medicine Shop, Luxottica Pearl Vision Division, and Mary Brown's famous chicken and taters, as well as McDonald's Canada. During this webinar, I'm going to take you through all the different experiences from all of these brands with regards to franchising and what we looked for and what we feel is a successful franchisee. I'm going to give you some inside track of what happens as an example when you're at a franchise expo. So one of the things that's really important is turning up and showcasing your best self. As you know that you're there to also decide what franchise that you would like to maybe own one day, the franchisor or the person you're speaking to in the booth is also interviewing yourself, looking at you and thinking, is this somebody that we see could be a team player? Is this the person that we see having more than just one franchise? Do we see this person as somebody as would be a great advocate of our brand? So it's a two-way street as you're walking up and down the aisles and speaking to these franchisors. They look for how you interact with them, and how they're interacting with you to see if there's a chemistry. They also take a look at what questions you might ask. It's really important to see if you're just asking questions about money or if you're asking questions about the entire franchise. So during this, though, they also want to make sure that you meet the minimum qualifications, not only from the communications piece, but also from the financial piece. They also want to make sure, and you do too, are you somebody that will follow the system? Or will you be somebody that will want to always be butting heads with them and always wanting to change their system? And the other piece too is want to make sure that you're willing and understand the importance of paying royalties. And also for you and them, are you going to be a team player? All of these aspects are really important, and all of these are actually being measured as you're speaking to those people in the booth or even to the franchisor during the interview process or even over the phone or on Zoom these days. One of the many factors for you choosing what is the best franchise is to ask yourself, what do you really enjoy doing? What hobbies do you have that you see yourself doing more of? What level of satisfaction do you wish to derive? These are really important. This is a 10-year commitment with a possible 10-year renewal between yourself and the franchisor. And this is your opportunity to actually decide, what can I do that I love doing and that I see myself doing for the rest of my life or for the next decade? Here is your chance to actually make that decision. Being the boss. Everybody loves the idea of being the boss, but it also has another side to it. So you want to ask yourself as a franchisee, are you going to manage the daily grind? If you love what you do, it won't feel like a daily grind. But even things like, how are your bookkeeping skills? How are your marketing skills? How are you with people? You're responsible for everything. So being the boss sounds fantastic, but it also has a lot of responsibilities, and you want to make sure that you're ready for that. One of the aspects of being a franchisee is, can you run it? You want to be able to be experienced at running the business, being able to plan out what the business is going to look like, not only today, but the next year, come up with solutions, make sure the quality of what you're doing is at the level you want it at, make sure that the service levels that you expect from your team are there. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you are part of that business as well. It's very difficult to run a franchise when you're working your normal job Monday to Friday at a different location in an office downtown, let's say. So you really want to make sure that if you need to go in there and run that business, that you can. It's very important for you. It's your investment, it's your lifestyle, and it's your chance to put your fingerprint on a franchise. Are you willing to hire employees? Are you able to work with a team? Can you do hiring and firing? Are you able to work with customers and suppliers? It's a really important question. As you know, dealing with people and hiring employees is a big job and a big responsibility. And it's more than just hiring people, and it's more than just doing quick interviews. It's really building a culture within your franchise, and it's something you want to be able to make sure that you're comfortable in doing and creating that team working environment. So you want to ask yourself, am I willing to hire employees? The second part about asking yourself if you're willing to hire employees is how many? Do you wish to manage maybe 5 people, or do you dream of managing 60 to 80 staff or more? Like myself, with the 2 Tim Hortons stores, I had over 80 staff, and with the Kelseys, I had another 40. So there was 120 staff that I have, and it sounds fantastic, and it sounds like it's a big deal, but it also comes with a big responsibility. So you want to ask yourself, does that suit my lifestyle? Does that suit my management ability and leadership? Or do I just want a business where I have to worry about only me? So very important questions to ask yourself. Finding a balance of conformity and entrepreneurism. Franchising is a very interesting game. Independent business owners, franchisees, have to conform to a franchisor system and procedures. Interesting though, and complex balance of entrepreneurism and conformity is that entrepreneurs are very open-minded, very big dreamers, love to be independent, and it's interesting that to take that entrepreneurism and put it into the box of franchising, it can be complex sometimes. So you want to make sure that it's somewhere that you have a bit of freedom and a bit of balance of being able to follow a system as well. Taking direction from the franchisor. Being an entrepreneur does not necessarily mean you'll make the best franchisee. You may be free-spirited and have the tendency not to comply. The franchisor might not let you deviate from their systems at all. And then you would be labeled as the rogue franchisee. So you want to be able to make sure that a system that you're buying is one that you feel this is what you need to make you succeed and be able to give you guidance. And at the same time, understand that the franchisor is really the one leading the chain with you helping them out. Following the franchise system. It is simple. The system's in place, you just need to follow it. It works. They've got a proven model. That's why you're there. You've heard of them and you're interested in it. And the reason you said yes to that franchise, and I'm going to explain to you what that means, what it looks like from the outside and how it truly looks from the inside. As an example, there's a famous coffee chain that we all know so well. And when you go into them, all of them look fantastic. None of them look old and tired. They're all newly renovated, all have the brand new digital menu boards, all have all of the new menu development. It's fantastic. And so you look at this and go, this is a chain that I want to be part of. And you would be right. But also remember that comes a cost with that. All of the franchisees have the digital menu boards. All of the franchisees have the new menu development. Let's say it's a frozen coffee product, for an example. You won't be able to go to any of those locations and not find that in place. So for you as a franchisee, you want to make sure that you're willing to go with the chain and move forward with the chain and make sure that you're part of the future success of them. And with that comes the price of making sure that you're up to the daily standards that the franchises expect. Focused self-determination. One of the things about being a business operator, as you all know, is you want to enjoy every up and you want to recover from every down. You want to love and crave what you do to make your business successful, and you don't want to get distracted. If you don't love what you do, you can easily get distracted. And what I mean by that is you start looking at owning other businesses, other ventures. You start looking at when there's a downturn in a particular business that you start focusing somewhere else instead of looking at your business and trying and pick it back up off of its feet and continue and make it even better than it was before. So make sure that you're dedicated to this franchise and you want to see it become amazing and you see the 10-year picture, and don't get distracted and keep that business moving forward. You want to manifest positivity to your customers and the brand. There's nothing like enthusiasm and a general love for the brand and its product or service. Enthusiasm is contagious. You want to inspire yourself and your employees, who are the face of the business. So you're the one who's the cheerleader of maybe a new product that's coming down, maybe new colors, new renovation, new whatever it is, but you're excited about it. And you want to be enthusiastic about everything that your franchisor is doing for you so that your team sees that you are as well, and your customers at the same time. So you want to make sure that you stay positive as you go through the growth of what a franchise chain is going about. Imagine today that coffee shop that we spoke about earlier that I was a franchisee at. They have been fantastic in menu development. If today they were only serving coffee and donuts, they may not be at 5,000 units today. Maybe they would have been only a couple of hundred, or maybe possibly not even in existence anymore. So think of all of those great changes that happen throughout that chain, and make sure that when those choices come your way, that you're enthusiastic about all of those changes and be part of the team. The number one reason for failure. Now I realize I have 3 bullet points for the number one reason. That's because I have them all tied at number 1. So the first is the franchisor chooses the wrong franchisee. The franchisee chooses the wrong franchisor. And the third number one reason is the franchisee chooses the wrong manager. So many times what happens is it becomes a financial transaction where the franchisor chooses you because you financially qualified. But maybe there was many other things about yourself that wouldn't really take the chain to the next level. And it's something that really wasn't communicated or dug into during the interview process. The second thing is for yourself as well. Maybe you chose the franchisor because you were solely looking at how much money can I make? And at the end of the day, it wasn't a franchise that you loved, and it wasn't a franchise that you were passionate about. And the third one is, which I see so often, the franchisee chooses a family member or somebody they know, or just chooses a manager to get them in there quickly, didn't train them properly, etc. And that manager ends up leaving. Now what happens? And my slide earlier spoke about how you need to be able to run that business if something comes about. And this would be one of those cases where a manager leaves on you and you need to go in there right away and pick up and just keep going with the franchise. So this slide is very important, and I urge you to really focus on these 3 number one reasons for failure. Now open is not good enough. So I see so many times where franchisee or franchisee candidates get into the stores or look at a store and think, this has a great brand name. I just need to put the sign up, open the door, stand behind the counter, and the people will come. Just because you've hung the sign up does not mean the business will come to you. You need to get into your community. You need to become an ambassador of the brand, and you're the biggest advocate and voice. So many times we hear that one of the number one reasons for success and more customers was from referrals. It's from other people talking about how great you were, or your staff, or your business, or your product was. And part of becoming a franchisee is being involved in the community, being involved in all of these pieces that can make you a famous person in your territory. And this is what being a franchisee is all about. So don't expect to just have the name on the front of your door and wait for people to come through the door. That is a very rare thing. Give back to the system. So as a franchisee, it's something that you want to do. You want to support the franchisor on every initiative that they're doing. Maybe you would want to participate in steering committees. Maybe you'd love to become an advocate for the chain, and you'd be fortunate enough to be used for testimonials or on radio ads or even TV ads. You see so many franchisors right now where they actually have the franchisee from different parts of Canada on the TV commercial. Those are great ways to be an advocate and give back to the system. The other way is be a coach or mentor for new franchisees. Imagine being able to take your fingerprint and helping a new franchisee be as successful as you are. That is a great way to make a difference. Characteristics of a successful franchisee. Continually engage in a great relationship with the franchisor and the franchisees. Have a strong desire to improve business skills. It's great that the acumen you're bringing to the table for the franchisees now, or franchisors, is at the level that it is, but here's your opportunity to be even greater with operations, marketing, leadership, teamwork. Take advantage of what's in front of you and take it to the next level for yourself. You like to use proven systems and structure. You believe that customers must be highly valued. I've seen so many times where franchisees focus on that less than 1% of the client that is trying to, as they say, rip them off. Never mind those and just focus on all your customers and treat them very, very valuable. Make sure you have an entrepreneurial spirit. Continuing with the characteristics of a successful franchisee, make sure you're open to change and feedback and not just be doing the same thing that you're doing today, a year from now, or 2 years from now. Be open to the change and feedback of your clients and your franchisor and your franchisees. Have a real ambition to grow a business and not just do what's needed to be done at the minimum, but want to take it to the next level every day. Be committed to the power of a brand and believe in prompt responses to staff and clients. Have a high energy, fast-paced, and always lead by example. And the last one is my favorite. You know how to build a culture that matches the brand externally by creating that culture within your team. And I know that sounds like a mouthful and a mindful, and it is, but it's actually quite simple. Imagine having a brand that has a lot of great energy. As an example, there is a famous poutine franchisors that have a fantastic energy to them. You would want to make sure that the staff that you hire also have that same energy with every client and every customer every day. So you want to match the culture of the franchise within your team as well. What I've seen and heard. So in the last 30 years in going to several franchise expos and doing several franchisee interviews, it's very interesting that all of the pieces that I've just mentioned to you, many times I witness the behaviors of the exact opposites of everything I just mentioned to you. I see potential franchisees, maybe like yourself, go from booth to booth asking the same questions and just taking brochures. And the questions are, how much is your royalty rate? How much is your advertising? How much money will I make? When can I get my money back? And those are the same questions that I watch people do and put the pamphlet into their bag and move on to the next booth. And those people are making a decision on numbers. And this is exactly the opposite of everything that I just shared with you of what a franchisor is actually looking for in you as the franchisee. They're looking for the passion. They're looking that you enjoy the brand. They're looking for you to love the brand and what it stands for. They're looking at you and you should be looking at them of, I enjoy doing this every day and I can see me doing this for at least 10 years or more. So we want to make sure that you're not just asking the same questions and that you're not making judgments on just the numbers alone. A 10-year plus relationship. Remember that the franchise agreement is 10 years with a renewal sometimes of 5 years or another 10 years. A relationship between yourself and a franchisor is very similar to a marriage. It's fun to get into, but it can be very expensive to get out. So make sure that this is something you can see yourself doing for the next 10 years. And all of the things that we've mentioned in the slides previous about your passion, about being involved in it, is something you see yourself for the next 10 years or more doing. This will really help you become the successful franchisee that you see yourself becoming today in the future. Why does a person decide to become a franchisor? So in this particular slide, I'm sharing with you the feelings of the franchisor. All these other slides I've shared with you is what it's like and what they're looking for in a franchisee. But here's a couple of reasons of why they became a franchisor. They became a franchisor because they started off with a dream and they could visualize it. They see the path, they see the future, and the fantasy of what it could look like across a country or territory. And your role is to follow all that we spoke about today to enable the franchisor's dream, which in turn enables yours. So in 3 easy words, just visualize it together. The franchisor has this dream as you do, and you can be the one that truly makes this happen. And what a great feeling that is when both of you are on the same path. I thank you for letting me be your host in this webinar of how to be a successful franchisee. I truly hope that you found some insights from 30 years of my franchise experience that I loved sharing with you today. And again, the slide shows my contact info from Franchise Marketing Systems. I'm the Director of Canada. It's Scott McCarthy. And you can reach me at the website that you see on here, and that phone number is my cell phone. And I would enjoy talking to any of you and sharing even more details or answering any of the questions that you might have. Again, I thank you for your time today. And I'm hoping as you go through the virtual expo, and hopefully one day when we get to go back to having franchise expos in person, that some of the things we mentioned today on the slides are in the back of your mind as you go from booth to booth and speak with the franchisors. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I hope to hear from you soon.